News 3 WSIL. Here's what's happening right now.
Chaos for a local fire department. We'll show you why some of the crew has resigned and what may happen next.
And Illinois Comptroller Susana Mendoza is in Southern Illinois. She even stopped by the station. We'll show you what she's got going on tonight.
Plus, the latest on a deadly shooting this morning in Nashville, Tennessee. News 3 at 6 starts now.
We've got you covered. From WSIL, this is News 3 at 6.
Good evening, I'm Julie Williams.
And I'm Mark Kiesling. A little cooler and cloudy for most of the day, but some of us are seeing sunshine right now.
And it's pretty nice. We are not complaining. Storm Track 3 meteorologist JC Brienne is standing by in the Weather Center. JC, what are we looking at for our Monday evening?
I'll tell you what, it's not too bad. It's not quite as warm as it was yesterday, but it is fairly mild. High temperatures today were quite a bit cooler than where we were at yesterday. You know, the average high for Carbondale is usually coming in close to 61 degrees, but only topped out at 52, so almost 10 degrees cooler than what we typically see this time of year. Poplar Bluff topped out at 60 degrees, Murray at 59. So overall, just a cooler day. And a lot of us were stuck in the clouds throughout the day, but we are starting to see some of that breaking up this evening, and that is giving us at least a few peaks of that sunshine before that sun sets tonight. Temperature-wise, especially across southern Illinois and some of the northern half of the area, we're back into the 40s. We've got Sparta at 49, along with Carbondale, Mount Vernon at 47. Along with the Perryville Airport. Tonight, not talking about any active weather. It'll continue to be quiet through the overnight hours. Temperatures will dip down into the 30s. By the time we get into tomorrow, there is a chance for a few light sprinkles, and then we have more widespread rain and storms coming by the end of the week. I'll break down those details in just a couple minutes.
Our top story this hour comes out of Saline County. A volunteer fire department could soon fold after half of its members resigned.
One of them says it's because the mayor reinstated a firefighter who reportedly failed a background check. News 3's Danny Valle has more for us tonight from Galatia.
I know on this door here, it has a cable that is broken.
Tim Artis spent 3 years as a Galatia volunteer firefighter until 2 weeks ago, when he, the chief and assistant chief, resigned. It was after an audit by the state fire marshal that revealed one member didn't pass a background check.
The fire marshal had told us to get rid of him, so that's what we did. Well, the mayor and the board member decided to reinstate this individual, so 7 people walked off the fire department that night.
Illinois law does not allow fire departments to hire those convicted of felonies. It's unclear why the firefighter didn't pass their background check. What is clear, firefighters wanted nothing to do with it.
If anything does happen and the fire marshal's coming and doing an investigation, everybody that's on the fire department can get in trouble.
I don't feel like it has been handled professionally at all.
One resident told us she was at a scheduled meeting about the issue last Saturday when it was canceled. She did speak to one firefighter who did show up.
I heard that their fire rescue packs were expired, and he stated to me that he was not at liberty to answer any questions.
Last week, Artis says OSHA found the station's equipment, including self-contained breathing apparatus systems, were not up to code. That means the 5 firefighters left in Galatia can't go into a burning building in town. They have to wait for other stations.
There was a fire, a couple blocks away from here and someone's trapped inside. You're saying you can't go in.
We cannot make entry.
Even though someone's screaming for help.
Exactly.
But right now, the focus is on keeping the station running, something Artis has no control over. But he won't stop caring, even if he's not a firefighter anymore.
It's sad. I mean, you're leaving the residents here in Galatia, even on the outskirts of Galatia, without fire protection right now. It shouldn't have came to this.
In Galatia, I'm Danny Valle, News 3.
Mayor Steve Sloan couldn't be reached for comment. The Board of Commissioners couldn't be reached or had no comment. The city's monthly meeting is coming up next at Monday night, April 10th. That's at 6.
For the first time in 165 years, an all-female fire crew is running a St. Louis Fire Department firehouse. The squad is made up of 4 women who say they all feel privileged to be making history. They say it makes a big statement and will hopefully improve recruitment, hiring, and retention of female firefighters. As of now, only 12 St. Louis City firefighters are women. The fire department says it's a priority to raise that number.
I think this opens up, let the little girls know they can do it, even though they probably always been told that, oh, that's for little boys, fire trucks for little boys, but now they can see little girls, big girls do it too, and you can too.
The firefighters say getting more women on board is the first hurdle. One day they hope to have a female fire chief in charge of the whole operation.
Vienna will charge a fee to do underground work on city property. They passed an ordinance in February. It lays out a fee structure for companies. The city says it stems from a project they're working on to fix the water main system. For example, if a company wants to put fiber optic cable underground, it'll cost $1,000. Vienna's mayor says these fees are a way to offset any cost by the city.
Us time and effort and our workforce, because we have to go out and plot out all of our utilities, so it's quite an impact to us. It's really an offset to what the impact is on our small labor crew that we have.
Mayor Penrod says if you're a homeowner and need work on city property, they can waive those fees so that you're not responsible for them.
Illinois Comptroller Susana Mendoza announced $4.5 million in funding. It goes to the Illinois Association of Free and Charitable Clinics. That grant money was approved by the General Assembly and signed last year by Governor Pritzker. It will provide necessary support to health clinics statewide so uninsured people have access to medical care, health education, screening, and testing. This is only the first half of a grant that totals $9 million. Thousands of Illinoisans should benefit from that program. Mendoza is in Southern Illinois tonight. She's speaking right now at the Heron Civic Center. It's for a Women's Appreciation Dinner hosted by the Heron Rotary Club. She's the guest speaker for the night. Local women will be honored for their contributions and public service. First, though, Mendoza stopped by our station. She gave us a preview of tonight's topic.
Tonight I'll be talking a little bit about what my path has been as a woman in what historically has been a male-dominated field and the challenges and how we've overcome them. It's important to recognize women, not just in 1 month of March, but every day of the year. And I truly believe that when women lead, amazing things happen.
And organizers say tonight's dinner is a sold-out event.
Right now, some lawmakers have a plan in case the U.S. Supreme Court rules in favor of student loan forgiveness. They say this way they can block the program again. This is the one that could cancel up to 20 grand of your federal student loans. Right now, the U.S. Supreme Court has to figure out if it's constitutional, and they'll probably rule on it this summer. If they give the go-ahead, lawmakers might use the Congressional Review Act. President Biden could veto that. We'll let you know what happens. And be honest, do you tip at the drive-thru or like at fast food restaurants, or do you just tell people that you do? We'll look at how many of us are adding that extra 20% in our next half hour on News 3 at 6:30.
And now to a developing story out of Tennessee. 3 children and 3 adults were shot and killed this morning at a private Christian school in Nashville. Tonight, we're learning more about the shooter who was also killed. Police say that shooter is a 28-year-old woman. She came in the school through a side entrance carrying 2 assault-style rifles and a handgun. Police responded and shot her and killed her within 15 minutes of the first 911 calls. One woman was vacationing in Tennessee and saw those first responders. She is from Highland Park and survived a mass shooting there last year.
I survived a mass shooting over the summer. I am in Tennessee on a family vacation. These shootings and these mass shootings will continue to happen until our lawmakers step up and pass gun safety legislation.
The shooter was a former student at that school. The FBI is working with investigators to determine her motive. Stay with News 3 for updates.
And you can always get those updates on our website as well, WSILTV.com. You can also get them through our free News 3 mobile apps. You can get those for both iPhones and for Androids.
It was an active weekend for severe weather across the South. We'll show you the latest on early recovery efforts.
And we'll take a look at our local weather. This is live over Carbondale right now. Looking pretty calm out there for us. Storm Track 3 meteorologist J.C. Brienne's latest forecast is coming up on News 3 at 6.
Cleanup is underway across the South after a devastating tornado outbreak through multiple states.
We know there were almost 24 tornadoes that touched down, and the most severe was an EF4 in Mississippi. ABC's Morgan Norwood is on the ground with more for us.
Residents in Rolling Fork were turning to ruins, the town among several in the South just starting the painstaking road to recovery after monster tornadoes sliced through the region.
We don't have any business, jobs, nothing. People don't have anything.
Sonia Barnes was inside her home when the EF4 twister touched down in Rolling Fork. She tells me she grabbed her 2-month-old grandbaby and took cover in the bathroom.
I was just thinking, how was I going to protect her?
But you put the baby in your jacket?
Yes, my shirt.
This afternoon, the town nearly unrecognizable. Businesses leveled, homes destroyed, minced by the tornado's 170-mile-per-hour winds. Erwin Macon miraculously survived after he says a carpet shielded him from flying debris.
And that carpet was over me, and I just threw the carpet off. You see, there's nothing. I don't know how I stayed here holding on to this floor.
Rolling Fork, just one of several Mississippi towns shredded by twisters. In Amory, Mississippi, school surveillance video capturing the moment an EF3 tornado ripped through the hallways with winds up to 155 miles per hour. Debris raining from the ceiling. Residents nearby scrambling to take cover.
Once it started coming, it started shaking, and I ran to my tub to get in my tub, but it felt like it was pulling me up.
And in Georgia, trees plucked from the ground, debris littered everywhere after a series of reported twisters touched down overnight. And back here in Rolling Fork, dozens of power crews scrambling to get the lights back on to the few homes and businesses that are still standing. Meanwhile, we also know that FEMA is on the ground, pledging to be here for the long run. I'm Morgan Norwood, ABC News, Rolling Fork, Mississippi.
And we did finally get to see some of that nice weather by the time we got to the weekend. However, today there were a few more clouds and some cool temperatures across the area. Some of those clouds finally starting to break up a bit. This is a look at our camera in Metropolis. Yes, there's still clouds, but some sunshine is filtering through, and we can see some peaks of blue here and there across the region. Temperature-wise, it really gives us a nice story of where the thickest clouds were today. Across southern Illinois, we only climbed up into the mid to upper 40s, so still pretty chilly. We've got Marion at 46, along with Carmi, Sparta coming in at 49. But where we saw more sunshine today, temperatures did rebound back up into the low to mid 50s. So Sikeston pretty comfortable right now at 54. And then we have Poplar Bluff holding on to 59. Tonight, your threat tracker bar does stay low. We've got quiet conditions sticking around through the overnight hours. A chance for a few sprinkles throughout the day on Tuesday. However, nothing too substantial. A lot of us not even going to see measurable rainfall. Our next system that we have our eye on will be Friday. So by the time we get to Friday, there is a chance for strong to severe thunderstorms coming back to the area. And that's really what we'll be watching pretty closely through the rest of the week. Until then, enjoy that quiet weather. That front is well off to our east at this point, and again, leaving us with a few clouds, but not tracking any rain this evening. That does change by the time we get into tomorrow. We will see the mostly cloudy skies throughout the day on Tuesday. And then there's a very small chance for a few isolated showers showing up across the area. If we do see that, it'll be very light. Honestly, more of sprinkles coming down in pockets here and there throughout the day. Aside from that, we'll start to see those clouds clearing out by Tuesday evening. Mostly clear skies will return to the area, so not too bad. As far as tomorrow goes, temperature-wise, the clouds are going to keep us on the cooler side yet again. So we will wake up to temperatures in the 30s, but then those high temperatures will only be topping out in the low 50s. 53 degrees for that high. Storm Track 3 app, keep that around because, of course, like I mentioned before, we are tracking some active weather by the time we get to the end of the week. Our next big weather maker starts to work its way in by Friday evening. Widespread rain and the chance for some strong to severe thunderstorms are going to be making their way into the area. This is the latest SPC outlook, and honestly, it's a pretty large area extending from parts of Iowa, northern Illinois, all the way down through Arkansas, and of course that includes parts of our area,
medium threat at this point. So we'll keep a really close eye on this as it gets closer. It's still several days away, but now's the time to get a plan in place and just make sure you're keeping up to date with some of the latest updates. Until then, partly cloudy on Wednesday, not a bad day, 59 degrees for the high temperature. More peaks of sunshine by the time we get to Thursday. We're back up into the mid-60s, probably the peak day of the week. Active Friday, and then we quiet back down by the time we get to the weekend.
Really a lot of nice weather on that board, though. You take away Friday and everything else for this week looks pretty good.
That's true.
We'll enjoy it. Thank you, JC. Well,